Hello and welcome to another episode of Café 21. I'm your host, Ross Crawford, and in the hot seat today we have a very special guest. He's an internationally renowned keynote speaker that specialises in the subjects of diversity, leadership and culture. He's also a best-selling author, publishing My Corporate Voodoo, My Voodoo, and his latest book, Spike. Welcome, René Carayol, to the hot seat.
Hi, Ross. Very pleased to be here.
Yeah, smashing. So you know the drill. It's 3 questions, 3 answers. Are you ready?
Yep, go ahead.
Cool. So you've had a very varied career, from working on the boards of top global companies, advising Fortune 500 leaders, an author, a keynote speaker. But we want to help the next generation of brilliant minds kind of channel their ideas and passions like you have. So from your experience, how important is self-evaluation to know your own skill set and strengths in order to achieve personal goals?
So look, it's so important that right through your career, right from the very start, you never stop learning. You never stop reflecting. You never stop asking yourself the question, what is it that I'm really, really outstanding at? And here's the line that you mustn't forget. Everyone is brilliant at something. No one is brilliant at everything. If you can find those 2 or 3 things that you really shine out, the things the Americans call them superpowers, we call them spikes. There was a time when we expected every student to be brilliant at everything. It's just not feasible. But you've got to try everything to find out which are the 2 or 3 things you really excel at. Then start to focus, because your career will really lift off if you wake up every day doing those 2 or 3 things you're outstanding at. Remember, everyone's part of a team. Everyone in the team is brilliant at something. When that team comes together, that team is unbeatable. Sports teams have done it for years. There's a reason why the goalkeeper's a goalkeeper. He's brilliant at it. What are you great at? That's what you've got to find out. And self-evaluation gets you there.
So my next question is, you have a mantra that I thought was particularly interesting up on your website and within your books, and that is everybody in, nobody out. Would you like to explain to the audience just what you mean by that and how it relates to the subjects that you're a particular expert in, such as leadership and business culture?
We live in a world of diversity and inclusion. Diversity is just a fact. You're diverse or you're not. Inclusion is a choice. And when inclusion comes really alive, it's when absolutely everyone, no matter who you are, no matter your background, no matter your faith, no matter your gender, no matter your inclination, no matter your race, you're included, you're involved, you're part of it. It's an environment an inclusive environment is where no matter who you are, your voice matters, your voice will be heard. Your opinion counts. We value everything that you bring, but we've got to create that environment that makes you feel that you're part of something special. And that takes something, we call it psychological safety, where the leader works really hard that if you're a bit of an introvert, you may not like to put your hand up and shout, we'll create an environment where you still feel comfortable contributing. You may not want to give your opinion till you've had the evening to think about it. We'll create an environment that you're comfortable contributing. You might be the one that shouts out loudest. We'll create an environment you're comfortable contributing. No matter who you are, everybody in, nobody out. Believe in everyone.
I think that's kind of a very inspiring mantra to have, especially when things like diversity are such hot topics at the moment, and especially diversity in the workplace. I think it's very important to have that kind of mindset that, listen, everybody's good, like in their own way. Everyone's good at what they do in their own way. So there's always a spot for everybody in a workplace. I think you're right.
Absolutely everyone, Ross. And I think far too many of us are brought up, taught to worry about the things we're not so good at. Worry about the things that you're brilliant at. Focus on the things you're outstanding at. That's how you're going to make a difference.
And if it's an unpaid internship, maybe you just got to be really good at making the cups of tea and coffee to everybody. I think that's the
Everyone's brilliant at something.
That's the start, definitely. But just for the final question, so to me, from what we see from a business on the outside as a customer, is kind of a reflection of the internal culture from leadership down to all of their employees. So obviously a bad leader who doesn't have time for everybody, that kind of eats its way down the pecking order as well into their customer service. What are the steps for young entrepreneurs and young business owners can take to ensure a positive working culture as their business flourishes and grows?
So I'll tell you a story, a little story here that sort of brings it alive. Back in the day, I used to write a business column for the Observer newspaper every Sunday. And I wrote a column called Banks Behaving Badly. And it was at the time when we all felt the banks were too big to fail. They'd been bailed out by the government, but the customer service was terrible. So you've got so big, you've really failed. We've bailed you out, the taxpayer, and you still treat us all badly. So I wrote this really damning piece. On a Monday morning, I got an email in first thing in the morning. It was from a guy called Chris Pilling, Chief Executive of First Direct Bank. And he said, René, I read your column. It's sort of, I get why you're saying it, but I think I run a slightly different bank. Here's an open invitation to come up to Leeds and spend a day with us. About a week later, I'm driving up to Leeds. I pull up into the car park. And when I get in, the parking attendant, he looks out of his window and he opens the door and he comes out and he says, René, Carayol. It just made me smile. You know, it's such a tiny little thing, but an important thing. He said, I've got a parking space for you. Follow me. Lifts up the barrier, walks ahead of me, and I drive behind him. I pull into my car parking space. Guess how that makes me feel? I leave him and I walk towards the reception. When I get to reception, there's two big sliding glass doors. They open up. I walk in. There's three women standing behind the reception desk, and one of them says, Good morning, René Carayol. Makes me smile. She said, You're here to see Chris, aren't you? Said, yes. Grab a seat. Let me call Chris for you. I sat and I thought, You've called the Chief Executive Chris. So there's something nice about the culture of the organisation. 2 minutes later, down comes Chris. Not his PA, not his assistant. It's Chris. Hi, René, how are you? Gives me my security badge, and we go upstairs. Now, here's the moral of the story, and here's one for everyone starting their own business. That wasn't an accident. That's culture. And when I say culture, I mean the way we get things done around here, which is different for every single business. Chris has gone out of his way to ensure that everyone in that business, end to end, thinks about the customer. From the parking attendant, the receptionist, to Chris himself. None of that is an accident. And I think if you're going to start a business, you've got to ensure that absolutely everyone from the top to the bottom, like Chris, the parking attendant, receptionist, they care about the customer. They went out of the way to know my name, pronounce it appropriately, greet me on arrival. And then to cap it all off, Chris didn't sit in his office or wait for someone to rush down and get me down. He came down himself. They're all small things. They're all important things. If you get a moment, go and have a look at the awards that First Direct Bank have won this year, last year, the year before that. Every year, Customer Service Awards, Bank of the Year Awards, Mortgage Awards, you name it, Loan Account Awards, they just clean up every year. It's because of what Chris started. None of it's an accident. If you care about the customer, everyone cares about the customer. If the founder, the owner, the starter doesn't care about the customer, no one's going to care.
Yeah, brilliant advice for young entrepreneurs. René, that's it. Short, sharp, simple. Thank you so much for sitting in the hot seat today. We wish you well from everyone here at STGC.
Ross, it's been a pleasure and a privilege talking to you. Have a good day. Thank you very much indeed.